Indiana, that's a different conversation. There are so many. There are two sides of that discussion for the fans. One says, "Oh, it's only the third year, yada yada." I'm like, there is no such thing as only the third year anymore. That conversation is gone. That's even gone for football. If even in football, you better be on your way up in your third year because of the portal and NIL. Those are two tools, and there could not have been two things added that I would have thought to help Indiana get back and stay at the level they should be at, that NIL and the transfer portal. But hasn't quite worked out that way.
You know, what I would say is this. You can have a step back, but you shouldn't have a step back to this degree. You shouldn't be in a situation where you're out of the NCAA tournament discussion. You know, they've been out of it now for a month in January. They got no quality non-conference wins. They've been blown out how many times? 4 or 5? Twice by Purdue, once by UConn, once by Auburn. I would even throw Penn State blowing them out in Bloomington. You shouldn't be losing big like that. And you don't really see what the plan is at this point. And, you know, you should not be in a situation where you're not even in consideration to make the tournament, you know, halfway through the Big Ten season. You shouldn't be.
Well, Mike, I think I saw a stat the other day. Mike Woodson has more 15-point losses in his season or his 2.5 seasons than Archie did in 4, and that's saying something right there. Than Crean did in his last 7. And even Mike Davis was in that than Davis did. So there's 2 names in there that are not exactly considered great coaches. So, but they were able to withstand the same battles that Mike Woodson is going through without the options of having the portal or the NIL.
I mean, Northwestern went into Purdue and played them tough, right?
Yeah, they almost beat them.
Yeah. I mean, Illinois went in there and played them tough. You know, Purdue's good, but that's a rivalry game. You shouldn't go in there and get punked and only score 59 points. You shouldn't lose 2 games against your rival by over 20 points. That's the kind of stuff that makes people question, you know, what's going on. That shouldn't happen. Even when Crean was the coach, they didn't get, you know, some of his Verdell Jones teams early on, and Tom Pritchard and those guys, they played Purdue tougher than that. And Purdue was pretty good back then. I believe that's when they had Hummel and Etuan Moore and Juwan Johnson and Martin. I forgot his first name. The other guy was in that one class. They played him tougher than that. So that's just not a good sign for what's going on in Bloomington right now.
No, not at all. I'm trying to quickly look up the very first year of Tom Crean, which was they were 6-25. They lost 67-81 at Purdue.
Okay.
I mean, that's Crean's first season. What do you have? 2 scholarship players when he started that season?
He had no returning scholarship guys, I don't think, except for Kyle Tabor, right?
Right.
That's when that the Verdell Jones. Pretty sure it was Verdell Jones.
Did they come in that year or the next year?
Dumas, Malik Story, Tom Pritchard, Nick Williams. Yeah, 81-67 is what they lost by. And the next year when they had Hulls and Watford and all those guys who were freshmen, let's see what the scores were. 78-75. They only lost by 3 points at home, and at Purdue they lost by 19. So close, but still, I mean, at home they only lost by 3.
Pride. The difference was pride.
Yeah.
Well, pride in college coaching, I will say. That has a plan, had a plan.
It's competitiveness. And you know, I don't know. It just doesn't seem to be there. I mean, you shouldn't get I hate to repeat myself, but you shouldn't get blown out that many times in 1 year. It shouldn't happen. I mean, it's not like Indiana doesn't have any talent. They got a 5-star. They got a guy named who's one of the better guys who came out of the portal, who's probably going to get picked in the NBA draft. They got Malik Renew, who's one of the 15 best players in the Big Ten. They don't have any guards. That's the problem. Their guard play is among the worst in the Big Ten, and they don't have any consistency. I don't know. It's just not working, man.
No,
I
and
think a lot of fans, my sense of it all now is that a lot of fans have moved past anger to they're like at resignation. They're like, they've detached from the team. It's like they're not watching, they're not expecting anything. They don't see what the path forward is to a better, more competitive situation.
you want to hear something more shocking? They're actually waiting for football season.
Yeah, no, they are. I agree. They're waiting for Kurt Signetti. They're happy that are they going to get a new playing surface in the Mellencamp Pavilion? They're happier about that than they are anything that's going on with basketball. And then when you throw out the fact that some of these guys on the basketball team are getting paid, they're even more bewildered.
Oh no, getting paid.
I know.
I mean, let me put the correct emphasis on getting paid.
Right.
Big time.
You can look around, Nebraska and Northwestern and some of these other teams have moved ahead of IU in the Big Ten. Are going to finish ahead of them in the standings, and that shouldn't happen.
No, and something that a question that I bring up, I ask people a lot. I was like, I have personally I don't recall a coach coming into a situation like we had with Woodson coming into this one. You're coming into a program that has been losing, that had your predecessor was not what it needed to be, but yet he kept that staff. He kept everything the same. The recruits that were being recruited, nothing changed. He didn't know to change anything. He don't know what he should change. He's just gonna, I guess, thought come in and just. I'm not exactly sure what the thinking was, but there was no change by him, at least from a personnel standpoint. Ostrom left, but that's because I don't think he was really even a coach. I think he was more of just a yes guy. But the rest of the staff stayed intact. I've never seen that.
You mean the sports staff?
Yes, assistant coaches. Assistant coaches.
Well, I thought the only one he kept was Kenya. Walsh was there too. Yeah, Walsh
was there.
Job.
And Fife gets booted, and so they bring in the one guy, but pretty much everything has stayed intact. The recruits, it was the same recruits, minus going out and the next year and getting Jalen Hood-Schifino, but there was just virtually no change, and there has been no change since. So I don't know what change people are expecting there to be. I'm not sure that they know what changes to make.
Yeah, I mean, to me, one of the biggest disconnects in when you listen to Mike Woodson talk, I'm not really sure he grasps some of the differences between college basketball and the NBA. I know that he downplays some of the analytics things, and in the NBA, it all goes by what place you are in the standings, and that determines whether you're in the postseason. It's not that way in college basketball. You've got to have a good computer ranking, and Indiana's computer ranking has been horrible all year. And then he made the comment the other night that they have to go out and add a couple pieces. I mean, there's no waiver wire. There's no trading deadline in college basketball. You can't add any pieces until after the season. And maybe that's what indeed he meant. But, in the time for adding, I guess the transfer portal is the main thing. But usually the time for adding pieces is in the fall when you're recruiting guys, and they added one piece. And it really isn't the piece that they need. The piece that they need are some really good guards. And they went after really one guy hard and put all their eggs in his basket, and they didn't get him. And that creates a problem now where they have to hit big in the transfer portal. So there's some flashing lights out there. Like, I'm not sure he really understands the challenge that he's facing and how to solve it.